Good morning and welcome to the Daily Deer, a daily episodic newsletter, podcast, video. I don't know what you want to call this thing about keeping your mind in the deer woods all year round. Speaking of the deer woods, let's go take a trek. Let's start off today with a quote by Vincent Van Gogh, and this one is deep. Conscious is a man's compass. There's so much that could be unpacked there philosophically, but in today's digital age, it's pretty easy to rely on GPS devices. Your smartphone obviously goes with you everywhere, for navigation and mapping and all of that stuff. And, that's great to have. However, there are still places, and if you're an elk hunter, you hunt in the thick, deep north woods of, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, so forth, where you might not have a cell signal. So it's important to download maps ahead of time and all that jazz. But those things can fail. And depending on the areas you hunt, you know, if your phone battery dies, you actually could be in some trouble. Like you could find yourself in a situation that's not gonna have a good outlook. So having something like a traditional compass or a lensatic compass is always like I still have a compass in my pack. Even today, I have a basic compass. I think I have a lensatic compass just because I like that. I took land nav courses a long, long time ago. It doesn't mean anything anymore because the last time I brushed off those skills was when I went to the boundary waters, and we ended up getting lost there anyways. So finding my way around is apparently I'm losing my sense of direction and my ability to navigate land uh, accordingly. But there was a time when I did learn how to use a lens set, a compass, and maps in a way to actually navigate, a piece of land. Before that, I would go to the Nicolet National Forest with my dad to go hunting. And back then I did only have a compass. We didn't Smartphones weren't around. We had a walkie-talkie and a compass, and I remember my dad saying, "Okay, you're heading in, you're headed west. So, generally speaking, you're going west. You're gonna wanna come back east, and if you go east far enough, you'll hit the main highway, that's off the logging road that we took in." Um, and I kinda just had just that. I didn't it wasn't more complicated or complex than that. I was like, "Okay, I'm going this general direction. If I get turned around, I just have to get the compass and head that other general direction back." Um, and I did get turned around significantly on my way out. And when you're in big wood territory like that and you're not able to, there's not snow, you're not tracking your steps, things like that, it gets really once you realize you're lost, like, there's a sense of like a wave of I won't say panic, but a little bit like panic that sets in. And I was like, "Oh gosh, I don't know which way to go." And I did it. I started heading whatever it was. I don't know what direction it was. Let's just say it was west. I started heading west to get my way out. And I was like, "Okay, I think I'm going the right way. The truck will be over here." And I caught a glimmer. The sun just happened to hit the windshield of the truck in like the total like south, completely south of where I was or something. And I was like, "What?" I thought for sure I was gonna find the truck going this way. I would've went on forever, like, not finding what I was looking for until I hit a road. And I was like, "Wow, I can't." I was even though I could visually see the truck where it was, I was like, How did it get over there?" I remember a story my dad shared with me about my uncle who, they were going into the woods together. My dad, got to the edge of this swamp, and he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna put my tree stand up here." My uncle's like, "Alright, great. Well, I'm gonna go and cross this thing and, keep trekking on." So, my dad gets his stand set up and watches my uncle literally cross the swamp, do a horseshoe, like a U-turn, come back around, and he looks up at my dad, he goes, "How'd you get over here?" I watched 2 of my friends do the literal same thing. They thought they had crossed a creek, looped around, came right back towards me, and they're like, "How'd you get over here?" I was like, You guys, you didn't cross." It's just so easy to get turned around. If you haven't ever gotten turned around the woods, like, you're probably just lying. Um, but the tip today is bring a compass, learn how to use it to some basic degree. I mean, there's a lot of YouTube videos out there. about, like, easy navigation with a compass. Um, there are actual ways you can navigate with the compass. If you hold it flat in your hand, you're ensuring that your travel arrow points straight ahead. Um, there's definite best practices you would do, but there are also generalities. It's good to just have one to determine your bearing and figure out where you're at. So the takeaway, mastering a compass navigation is not something that you're probably going to do. Some people probably are really good at it, but if nothing else, just the takeaway is to just be cognizant of where you're hunting and your safety. Like, certainly, hopefully, you're telling someone that you're going to be in a certain area. Like, heaven forbid you fall off a stand or fall down a ravine or break a something in your leg that disables you to get out of the woods. It can get dicey quick in the wilderness. In the north woods, there's cougars, there's bears, there's wolves, there's coyotes. There's a lot of things out there that, if you're bleeding all over the place and you're not moving really well, like, it could get weird. I have heard stories of guys that have, like, they've gotten turned around. They just couldn't find their way out, so they built a fire. Like, it could be really cold too. There's a story I found about some Norwegian, I think it was a Norwegian explorer, Otto, I can't say his last name, but he led some Arctic expedition, um, aboard a boat called the Fram, and it was the temperature was so low that I had to, like, reread the story a few times because I thought it was BS. But him and his crew undertook sledging through temperatures that were as low as negative 59 degrees Fahrenheit. And they pressed on. They were just, like, charting new territory and, like, plotting new maps. Like, I don't think we'll ever have any exposure to anything that ridiculous, although I think the coldest I hunted was, like, negative 15 degrees with a wind chill in the Nicolay, and that was pretty bad. Actual temps were, like, -5. It was brutal. I remember that, and I remember hunting for quite a while before I gave up on, sitting without seeing anything. But anyway, that's our tip and takeaway for the day. Get yourself a compass if you don't have one. Learn how to use it to the best of your ability. And thanks for trekking to the deer woods today.